What's up, my comic comrades? With Russell Crowe, set to play Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder, we thought it'd be a good idea to stroll through the pages of Marvel Comics and see how they connected Zeus to Thor over the years. The first thing worth noting is that Zeus is pretty much the same in Marvel Comics as he is in Greek mythology. He first appeared in Marvel's Venus title, issue 5, in June of 1949. Now, while this was Zeus's first appearance in Marvel Comics, this wasn't Stan Lee's Marvel yet. We wouldn't get the Marvel we know and love until over a decade later, when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four in November of 1961. Lee and Kirby would then create Thor a year later in August of 1962, with his first appearance landing in Journey into Mystery issue 83. Then in 1965, the pair introduced Hercules into the Marvel Universe in Journey into Mystery Annual 1. And in the same issue, we would also get the first appearance of Zeus, at least how we know him now in the Marvel Universe. But again, it's technically his second overall appearance. As for how Zeus is introduced to Thor, the issue opens up with Thor and Loki entering the Forbidden Land of Jotunheim, where the Storm Giants dwell. That's right, I said Storm Giants, not to be confused with Frost Giants. Thor then spots two Storm Giants and tells Loki they seek the entrance to the Lost Passage, the passage which leads to Olympus. He goes on to think the legend tells us that Storm Giants were hurled out of Olympus ages ago, thus it is my duty to prevent them from ever returning. The Storm Giants then say, "At last, we found a hidden entrance. After all these centuries, we shall return to menace Olympus anew." Thor jumps in saying, "Not while Thor lives. I strike for Odin and victory." So Thor's clearly not messing around, but it's easy to be that confident when you have a flowing mane like that. But what if that old hairline starts to run away from you? Mine did. We all know that 2 out of 3 guys experience some form of hair loss by the time they reach 35, and that's without the stress of being an Asgardian god. In fact, hundreds of thousands of guys like you already trust Keeps to help them do just that, because Keeps offers clinically proven and personalized treatment plans at an affordable price. You start by talking to one of their licensed physicians without having to visit a doctor's office, and they will help you choose the products and treatments that will work best for you. Then, to make it even easier, you skip the lines at the pharmacy with your treatment being delivered right to your front door every 3 months. The sooner you get started with Keeps, the sooner you start seeing results, so don't put it off any longer. Keeps will also have your back throughout the process with 24/7 access to their network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists who will answer whatever questions you might have along the way, because hair loss stops with Keeps. Just head over to keeps.com/variantcomics and get on the road to Hairtown by setting a time to talk with one of Keeps' licensed doctors online. And when you sign up with our link, you'll get 50% off your first order. Again, that's keeps.com/variantcomics, or use our link in the description to get started with Keeps right now. Now back to Thor and Olympus. After his battle cry, the confrontation with the Storm Giants causes the ground beneath Thor to crumble in a sudden rock slide. The comic says, "Thus the thunder god falls, for time without end, through a vast void of heavy nothingness, of shimmering energy barriers and mystic space disruptors, until he realizes." In his own words, this is no ordinary fall. I have unwittingly crashed through the hidden entrance to Olympus. Once in Olympus, Thor thinks to himself, it is so different from the home I have known, and yet in many ways, it bears great resemblance to a fabled Asgard. Thor then sees a bridge and thinks, but I must seek a way back to the Golden City. I shall cross this crude bridge and seek information from one who stands thus boldly. As we see, it's Hercules on the other side saying, "Hold. Come no further. You may cross yon bridge only after Hercules has done so." Thor then says, if there be room for only one to cross at a time, that one shall be Thor, who backs off to no man. Hercules replies, the madness must be upon thee to dare defy the will of Hercules. This leads to an epic battle between the two of them that lasts for several pages. Ultimately, Zeus appears on page 13 saying, "Let the fighting cease." I bet you were wondering how long it was going to take for me to actually get to the Zeus part, but you had to know once Hercules appeared that it was just a matter of time before his dad showed up. And the same could be said in reverse for Thor: Love and Thunder. With Zeus's appearance, it's only a matter of time before Hercules debuts in the MCU. Heck, he might even appear in Love and Thunder, at least that's my guess. In any case, once Zeus appears, the fighting ceases. Hercules replies, "It is my father, the venerated Zeus." "Hail, Supreme One." Thor kneels, silently thinking, "Zeus? The monarch of Olympus, even as Odin is lord of Asgard." Zeus then tells them, "I have witnessed your battle and found it honorable. In truth, you are each deserving of victory." Thor then says, "Your words have the wisdom of my own father, who was also a sovereign, my lord." Zeus then says, "Rise, valorous stranger. Thy courage and thy respect do thee credit, and reflect honor upon thy liege." He goes on to say, "Now clasp you each other's hand, for truly you have the power of nobility of princely immortals." We then see them lock arms while Hercules says, "The friendship of Hercules is thine," with Thor saying, "So too does Thor call Hercules friend." But now Now I must to my own kingdom return, for many are the tasks that await me. Zeus then says, then return you shall, for the will of Zeus is supreme in imperial Olympus, as he uses his power to teleport Thor back to Jotunheim. And that, my friends, is Thor's first interaction with Zeus. A bit later in Thor Annual 8, Thor would fight Zeus in the midst of the Trojan War. In the issue, a strange mist comes over Thor as he travels to Olympus once again, which causes him to lose his memory. After this, he meets Aeneas and finds himself involved in the Trojan War. But skipping ahead, getting to the Zeus parts, Zeus eventually finds out that Thor has gotten involved in the war, and needless to say, it doesn't make him happy. With him saying, I have vowed that ere long, Troy shall fall, and no god of any clime or eon may thus overthrow the will of Zeus. As he throws lightning down at Thor, Thor then says, by Odin's beard, who dares? Zeus then appears in the sky to Thor saying, that query rather should be mine, Asgardian. How darest thou interfere in yonder war when Zeus hath forbidden it? Thor replies, not even All-Father Odin himself tells the god of thunder where he may and may not tread, Olympian. Zeus says, not till today, stripling. Zeus, now pissed off, teleports both of them to the top of Mount Ida. Thor then says, impressive Zeus, in sooth thou art mine elder, and thus more experienced in storm godding it. Still Thor be no man or god's pawn. Zeus tells him, I respect thy motives and thy power, Northerner, but I say again, thou must cease meddling in mortal affairs. But of course Thor isn't gonna back down, which leads to the two battling. Zeus then starts throwing lightning bolts at Thor, while basically saying, I know my lightning isn't gonna kill you, but I can give you enough pain to make you wish you were dead. Zeus's lightning knocks Thor on the ground, and Thor says, Thor himself not be without his own sources of power, foremost of which be Mjolnir, mystic hammer forged by trolls for All-Father Odin in ages past. Mjolnir, which none save Thor and Odin may halt it in its hurtling path, as he proceeds to throw it at Zeus. But guess what? Zeus just catches the hammer while pretty much saying, and now you could add Zeus, master of Olympus, to that list. That's right, Zeus is able to wield Mjolnir. He even says, I do think 'twill make a welcome trophy for my, but Thor just calls it back to his hand and they continue fighting, throwing lightning at one another and rubble. The two gods continue fighting for several more pages until Zeus gets the upper hand and Thor is on the ground. Zeus says, verily not all the titans together have resisted me so strongly in the days when the cosmos was young, nor all the gods of Olympus when they would have toppled me headlong from my throne. Make the vow, Thor, and let this combat be ended. Why fight for a mortal's mistake? Thor basically says, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't fight for them but for the honor of Asgard itself. If you can't defeat the blood son of Odin, you will no longer be able to lead the Olympians against the realm eternal itself. Then maybe the immortals of Olympus will join forces with the hated hordes of Hela, and grim grey Ragnarok will fall darkly over the land of the midnight sun, as it was written about long ago. Zeus then replies, what? Be that the brooding cause which lies at the bottom of this madness? Then know thee this, god of thunder, thine All-Father and I have a pact which be older than you know. A pact that never shall Olympus and Asgard raise arms against one another. Though the twine may have clashed in the dim and distant past, they'll not do so in the future. Here, son of Odin, my hand on it and mine heart, as he puts his hand out to Thor and they make a truce. Zeus would continue to appear in several other Thor issues over the years, like Thor Volume 1, Issue 129, but the main takeaway is that Zeus is kind of an indifferent character to Thor. Most of the time they're cordial, but sometimes they come into confrontation, meaning this can go either way in Thor Love and Thunder, especially considering the MCU likes to take their liberties with things. They can make Zeus a full-on villain to Thor, or they can keep it like the comics, where it just really depends on the situation as to whether they see eye to eye. I personally hope that's the route they go, where Zeus is just kind of this other supreme god entity and a gateway for his son Hercules and the rest of the Olympian gods to be introduced into the MCU. I really can't imagine them doing all that much with Zeus. I think it's all a precursor to bringing Hercules into the MCU. Why? Because Hercules has a huge presence in Marvel Comics. I mean, the dude was part of the Avengers, so he could be a really cool character to see play over the next few years on the big screen. But we're gonna find out very soon. Either way, I hope you all have a better understanding of Zeus and Thor's relationship within Marvel Comics. Now it's your turn. What are your thoughts? Let us know down in the comments. First up for the week of July 6th, we have Batman 89 issue 6. It's a battle between former friends for the heart of Gotham as Batman faces down Harvey Dent. Can Bruce save his friend before he goes too far? And what does this mean for the future of Gotham City? Now we have the Joker issue 15. The Clown Prince of Crime had one more trick up his sleeve. A thrilling surprise final issue. How did Gordon escape Texas? What happened to Bane and Vengeance? Did the Joker get the last laugh? Find out. Here we have Spawn issue 331. Elements of Spawn's dark past continue to arise, some in the form of friends, others in the form of long-forgotten foes. And finally, we have Flashpoint Beyond issue 3. In this issue, Flashpoint Superman goes up against Flashpoint Batman. Need I say more? And that's gonna bring today's video to a close, but if you like this one, check out that one right here. And if you like all of our content, like, comment, and subscribe. It always helps us out. But other than that, I'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.